Video's on. All right, today is a cool day in Torah. Maybe, perhaps, the coolest ever.
Day in Torah.
This is the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Torah. Coming to you live from Evanston, Texas. We would like to dedicate this Torah study to John Culliver, to Catherine, to Yehuda Hai Ben Matai Leah, to Sam Peake, to Yona Barrett, to Susan Lipson, to Rusty Gerhardt, and to Sean Stafford Baria.
And to Russell.
And to Russell and his back, and to me and my nose. Anybody else need to be on the list of Torah blessing?
Greg Davis.
And Greg Davis. And blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, Creator of all things, and Giver of the Torah. And may all the Torah we learn today we remember.
Amen.
We're going to do now the prayer of the Ari, because we are fixing to go where no Torah teachers, students have gone before. Ruler of the universe and master of all masters, Father of mercy and forgiveness, we thank you, our God and the God of our fathers, by bowing down and kneeling, that you brought us closer to your Torah and your holy work, and you enable us to take parts in the secrets of your holy Torah. How worthy are we that you grant us this with such a big favor. This is the reason we plead before you, that you will forgive and acquit all of our sins, and that they should not bring separation between you and us. May it be your will before you, our God and the God of our fathers, that you will awaken and prepare our hearts to love and revere you, and may you listen to our utterances and open our closed hearts to the hidden studies of your Torah. And may our study be pleasant before your place of honor, as an aroma of sweet incense, and may you emanate to us light from the source of our soul to all of our being, and may the sparks of your holy servants through which you revealed your wisdom to the world shine. May their merit and the merit of their fathers and the merit of their Torah and holiness support us, so we shall not stumble through our study. And by their merit enlighten our eyes and our learning, as stated by King David, the sweet singer of Israel. Open my eyes so that I see wonders from your Torah. Because from his mouth God gives wisdom and understanding. May the utterances of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, God, my strength and my Redeemer.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Now, we're going to go many places today. Mainly up. So, what is this Parsha? Now, if we think back a couple Parshas, we have gone through the golden calf. We've gone through complete elevation to complete de-elevation. And now what do we have to do? Go back to complete elevation again. You're going in a serpentine pattern. So, last Parsha, Tzav, was talking about all the things that the priest had to do. Do y'all remember that? And you shall do the salt, and you shall do the flour, and you shall do the mineral, and you shall do the this and the that, and all these offerings that were elevation offerings. And the offering had to be burned by fire. All right? And it was the prayer, and it was the sackcloth and ashes, because fire produced ashes. So, which feast is that last Parsha really culminating?
Passover?
No. If you pray in sackcloth and ashes.
Oh, that's Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur. Oh, Kippur. Now, if you have your Torah in front of you, and we're in Leviticus, Shemini. Shem Shemini, Shem Shemini, Shem Shem Sharu. This was the Mary Poppins song, right? No. We are in chapter 9. And what does it say in the first verse?
It was on the 8th day.
And it was on the 8th day. Why would a Parsha start with a sentence like that? The 8th day of what? You see the problem?
The blessing of the blessing of the priest.
From what?
When they were getting
The 8th day of Passover?
What was the last feast?
Passover.
Yeah.
No.
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur.
Oh, well, you're still there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm leading y'all along. The last feast, we're talking Parsha, not the last feast we just had. The last feast was Yom Kippur.
It's Sukkot.
It's Sukkot. Thank you, Teresa. Now, so there's do you see the theme and how God's moving in an order of everything that's taking place within the Parsha? Now, I'll show y'all something. I'm fixing to close my Bible. And if you look at my Bible, you see where the blue string is?
Right in the middle.
It's in the center. Now, that's significant. It's extremely significant. So, Bria, turn your camera on so I can see your bright, shiny face. Now, I hope everybody read their Parsha, so I don't have to reiterate. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to read to you a paper written by my rabbi many decades ago. And we will go through it, and this is only the tip of the iceberg of this Parsha. The name of the Parsha, I have named it, is When Pigs Fly. Does anybody know what Shemini means? The name of the Parsha. It means the 8th. And it was on the 8th. Okay? Now, I have learned some cool things about the 8th. Number one, and I read this in the Zohar from next week's Parsha, circumcision is done on the 8th day. Why on the 8th day?
They want to release painless blood.
Yeah, but why?
To make sure you go through the Sabbath?
You make sure you go through a Sabbath. Because it is the Sabbath that keeps you alive, not you keeping the Sabbath. So it must be done on the 8th day. And to see if a person lives through a Sabbath, then he is alive. What is alive? He is Yesod. Yesod is the 8th Sphirot. Because you don't count Keter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is Yesod. So circumcision is done on the Yesod. Now, into this paper right here. This is an essay written by Rabbi Bakst. In Kabbalah, it is fundamental that the written Torah, which is the 5 books of Moses, is the cosmic key to creation. This is much more than a metaphor. Rather, along with the metaphoric and philosophical meanings, the Torah first and foremost functions as a cosmic code to reality. Every letter, from the first bet of Genesis to the final lamed in Deuteronomy, forms one long formula that spells out the genetic code for all phenomena this side of the Ein Sof. These formulas are also known as the divine names of God. Just as we, however, wear clothing when we are in public, so does the Torah. The royal garments of the Torah is what is known to the world as the Bible, with its narrative containing stories and laws. These diverse strands of the Torah stretch across and expand of the space-time manifold and weave a fabric that encases her. However, the supernal body of the Torah in her bare essence is known as the primordial Torah. And this remains hidden beneath the textured layers and multiple dimensional fabrics that we study. There are, however, some areas in the fabric of the Torah where her hidden light actually protrudes outward from beneath its covers. Although we are still viewing her from the outside, we can get a conceptual glimpse of what lies within waiting to be revealed. It is obvious that the Torah has a beginning and has an end. The first letter of the Torah is a large bet. There are no capitals used in Torah. They're all the same size. So if there is a big one or a little one, as we've discussed, you take notice. The beginning is a large bet, and it says Breshit. The last letter of the Torah is the Lamed of the word in the eyes of all Israel. Lamed, Israel. It has long been observed that these two letters, Lamed and Bet, when read backwards, from left to right, spell the word Lev, which is Hebrew for your heart. Historically, the Torah is the heart of the Jewish existence, and it is the heart of all existence. Traditionally and Kabbalistically, the Torah is the heart of existence. Now, have you ever thought that the Torah must also have a middle? The sages have an ancient tradition that when you count up all the letters in the 5 books, there is one letter that resides in the middle of all the letters. What could possibly be in the middle or the heart of the Torah? What will we find when we journey to the center?
The Vav.
The Vav. The middle letter of the Torah has landed us in the book of Vayikra, in Leviticus, in Parshas Shemini. In the middle of the holistic laws of kosher animals. Yet, even stranger is the specific subject matter in which the middle letter is found. In the beginning of chapter 11 of Parshas Shemini, it is written, Hashem spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, and these are the creatures that you may eat from among the animals that are upon the earth. Everything among the animals that has a split hoof, etc., that you may eat. 41 verses later, it is stated, every swarming creature that swarms upon the ground is a spiritual importance, or an importance, meaning spiritually. It shall not be eaten. Then verse 42:3, we come to, everything that crawls on its belly you may not eat, for it is an abhorrence. In Hebrew, the word for belly is gashon, spelled Gimel, Chet, Vav, Nun. Everything that crawls on its belly is referring to the snake. It is this Vav of Gashon that is in the middle and is the middle letter in the Torah. We have journeyed to the center of the world and landed in the belly of the serpent. The strangeness is not yet over. If you look into the Sefer Torah, the actual scroll of the Torah written by a scribe, you will see that this middle vav stands out from all the other letters and words because it is written larger than all the other letters. This is the large vav. As in the last Parsha we had a small aleph, remember? It is this elongated vav, the macro, opposite the usual micro vav. It is an intrinsic component of the Torah's cosmic blueprint. On the deepest level, this belly is not just a snake anymore. We see the elongated snake-like vav emanating from the primordial holy serpent, the source of the highest good. We have reached a signpost that indicates that we are now in the middle of the Torah. Let us take a peek over the edge, but be sure to hold on to the railing. We are going to look down into the hidden parts of the Torah as if we were to peer over the edge into a sheer drop of a multi-layered strata of the Grand Canyon. For those who have ever gazed at the Grand Canyon, you know that what little the eye can grasp is beyond words and beyond pictures. For those who gaze down into the vortex of Torah, what little can be understood is also beyond words and beyond pictures. Even then, what we are about to glimpse is nothing more than a black and white photocopy of what is most hidden, yet most extensive and far-reaching secrets throughout the entire Torah. The secret of the large vav in the belly of the Torah. According to the rabbis, there is an aspect of the serpent, the elongated vav, that signifies supernal truth and hidden knowledge. A little mystery of the macro vav is revealed in the Holy Zohar. The holy serpent is the fountainhead, root and existence of all God's sacred, revelatory light, which emanates all dimensions of reality. This is the ray of light that the Ein Sof extends into the Tzimtzum. This ray of light is what becomes the supernal pathways of the image of the elongated, large, macro serpent, who stretches out both sides with its tail united unto its head. It is returning upon to its shoulders. Now, as y'all know, we've studied this before, and here's the image it just described. This is the secret of the brain, the mochin of Atzilut, the upper dimension. Correct? This is the large vav. This is a straight light and this is curved light. This is the beginning of the Torah and this is the end of the Torah. And then the middle is the vav. It has no beginning and it has no end. It's a torus. It's ever moving. It's like God, it's like the Torah is one arm on one side and one arm on the other. He's got the whole Torah in his hands. But it's not in his hands, it's in his head. But it's much more than that. The Kabbalists explain the serpent is the secret, the sod of cosmic balance. The supernal da'at in the midbrain of the Godhead. What do we know about da'at? Whenever we say da'at, we can say what, Russell?
Leviathan.
Leviathan. And if we say the word lev, which is heart, it's the first three letters of what word?
Levitate.
Leviathan.
Oh.
Yes, and levitate. This is Leviathan in the middle of the Torah, which splits its two aspects, the straight serpent and the curved serpent. Its roots from the penetrating and surrounding light of the Ein Sof. The aspect of the straight serpent that stands in the middle is the letter Vav in the word belly, Gashon, which is in the middle of all the letters of Torah. Because this is the middle, this is the belly. And because it is the central axis which extends from end of reality to end of reality. Therefore, the Vav of belly is the elongated macro Vav. Now, from this supernal De'at emanates the entire Torah. From here also is the source of Moses' soul. Therefore, Moses is also called the Leviathan, the straight serpent. That's why his staff, which the staff is the Vav, that's why the staff turned into a serpent. How did Moses heal the people? He put a serpent up. Because if there is an evil serpent, there has to be a what?
Good serpent.
A good, holy serpent. You can't have one without the other. You can't have Nakash without Mashiach. You can't have Mashiach without Nakash. It's the same thing. It's two things. It's like this. Which side are you looking at it from? Front side, back side. Right side, left side. Tikkun Torah. Tikkun Tohu. It's always that way. Now. And it is this supernal Da'at that is the source of concealed light, through which one sees from one end of the universe to the other. It is the radiance that emanates as the secret of the Torah. Moshe, our teacher, who emanates the macro Vav of the belly, Leviathan, the straight serpent, the supernal De'at, drew upon this his entire life. Full explanations of all this require years and years of study, obviously, to get. But there exist two types of modes of letter Vav that signify two different aspects of snake serpent. The micro Vav signifies a serpent that is generally known to the world, especially in the world of Western culture, such as Christianity. Relative to the large Vav, the smaller version reflects its spiritual smallness and its present state of constriction. The macro snake, however, signifies the same serpentine energy, but it's fully grown, the spiritual mature state. The Jewish concept of spiritual maturity, holy serpent, is that the corollaries actual precedes that of the evil snake, and its associations we have generally come to know as the world of the fall of the Garden of Eden. What makes this arcane subject confusing is that there appears to be many different names for this one entity. Additionally, the quality and character of these different manifestations often appear to contradict each other. However, the enigma of the serpent becomes more understandable and more accessible when we realize that the large Vav and the small Vav, both with their numerous manifestations and symbols, are not separate phenomena. Rather, they are all different aspects of the single continuum. The primordial serpent, the primordial snake, the snake of the Garden of Eden, Leviathan, the penetrating ray of light that comes from the Ein Sof, and the supernal De'at of the Godhead are different dimensions of a virtual endless spectrum of divine consciousness. And all different phases of growth and maturation, purification, or contamination. These higher states, represented by the large Vav hidden inside the belly of the world and profane serpent. In Messianic times and beyond it, it will be redeemed and revealed in all of its glory and all of its awesomeness. The ancient Hebrew, the letter Vav, was not pronounced with a V sound, as it is today. This is essentially an Ashkenazi Jewish tradition that most likely was a cultural influence from the German language the Jews were exposed to as they began migrating to Eastern Europe over 1,000 years ago. It is generally agreed that the original sound of the Vav was a W sound, not a V sound, until recent influences of the revitalization of modern Hebrew. This is how Hebrew pronounced as taught at Oxford University and Christian seminaries around the world, with the th sound for the tav as now accepted as the t sound. In fact, the Sephardic Jews today who continue to pronounce the vav as a w, virtually all Yemenite Jews still pronounce the vav as a w sound. Now, here is one of the most enigmatic Torah synchronicities, and it borders on the incredible. In fact, when you spell out the letter Vav, it is spelled Vav, Aleph, Vav.
Can you scoot back?
When you spell Vav out, it's Vav, Aleph, Vav. Alright? Pronounced Vav. In its original form, it would be like this. How it's supposed to be pronounced, just keep me from turning around. It would be Aleph. And what does that spell? Wow. So, in the center of the Torah is the holy serpent, embedded in the belly, concealed inside the evil serpent, inside outside ball thing. Because when thing is turned inside out, its appearance is opposite. So when you journey to the center of the universe, what is hidden in the belly of the serpent? These are the questions that can be investigated for a lifetime, even when the explanations of the macro serpent appear at hand, because the description and ramifications are so awesome. It is mind-blowing, and all one can say is, wow. Now, that is just the introduction of what we have coming. And I have to go to the bathroom. Turn that off for a second. Take a break. Break time.